Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Let me reposition myself here for the camera. I think I can probably go a little bit lower. Boom. Something like that. Okay. All right. I hope everybody had a great weekend, and we're back on Monday. Hopefully, it's not too manic for you. Valerian, welcome, and thank you for that Prime sub. 22 months, and it's an 8-month streak. Wow. I appreciate that support, especially during Christmas time. I understand times are hard. They are hard for everybody. And it's kind of funny how it usually tends to be harder around the holidays. Have you ever noticed that? Growing up, it was always, finances always seemed to be a little bit tighter around the holidays. I don't know if it's like just irony or whatnot. I know Mom used to say many times when we were kids, there's probably not going to be as many Christmas gifts this year because, the cost of things and whatnot. But somehow there always seemed to be more than enough stuff under the tree. Just kind of how it goes, I guess. That's probably why partially a lot of people are in debt and then try to pay that debt off with the tax returns. We're just going to be in debt for a few months, and then when our tax comes back, then we'll pay off those debts, hopefully. So, times are funny. I was looking at, different things to show on overlays and whatnot. I hope you like that nice Christmas log cabin with the fireplace. Looks very warm and cozy, and it'd be nice to be able to have like a vacation home. It was a really common thing as I was growing up, and I can't say how common or uncommon it is now for sure, but when I was growing up, people always had a vacation home. I mean, we weren't really financially able, but um, a lot of people would have vacation homes, either at the beach or, in the mountains, out of state, whatever. And, they would go there on vacation. And, a lot of people would invest in timeshares, where you have multiple people sharing the same vacation home, basically. Um, People invested in real estate. I remember in high school, I had several teachers that owned multiple homes that they were renting out, and that's how they, made some money by doing that. And then I don't know how many years ago it was, the whole Airbnb thing came out, um, where people started purposely renting their homes out short term for vacation rentals, and people are, making some money on doing that. But the one thing that I've kind of noticed, moving back down here to the beach, a lot of vacation homes that people were renting out, particularly during the summer, they're selling. They're trying to get rid of their vacation homes because now it's becoming more of a debt than it is an asset. And so they're trying to get rid of that responsibility and whatnot. And a lot of that has to do with how the economy is and prices and stuff are going up. People can't afford to have a vacation home anymore or to invest in multiple homes, and it's kind of sad. It'd be nice if we could get our economy back to how it was, where things were a little bit more comfortable. And then, of course, it's not always going to be comfortable for everybody, but the goal should be to try to make life as comfortable for as many people as possible, not the other way around, trying to make life only comfortable for a select few. We shouldn't be doing that. Um, and speaking more, I've been hearing some interesting things this morning. Um, Government's always doing something, right? So they're trying to pass a bill that requires you to upload your ID on like social media. All right. So if you want to have a social media account and you want to post things, you have to upload your driver's license so that they can have your name and address and all that stuff on file. Now, their excuse for it is to protect children and restrict them from seeing certain content, basically, is what they're trying to say. Whereas a lot of people believes it's also a means of silencing people, limiting freedom of speech. Because the one thing we have kind of noticed with this administration is if he doesn't like what you have to say, he's going to do what he can to shut you up. And that's not how this country is supposed to be. Freedom of speech, you're supposed to be able to talk all you want. Okay? He can talk all he wants. Man with over 30 felonies sitting in office as president. If he can talk and he talks, then we should be able to talk as well. I don't know if this bill will pass or what all the truth is behind it, but I can tell you I won't be uploading my driver's license on any social media. That's a good way to get yourself in a lot of trouble, and I don't even mean with the government. I mean with hackers and other things as well. Um, it's probably also something that they're probably doing for ICE as well, so ICE can come knock on your door and come kidnap you. Just for those of you who are probably not as familiar, um, ICE is a little different than what it used to be. It used to be law enforcement officers who have certifications and paperwork and training and whatnot showing that they are law enforcement officers. But since he's been in office, he's turned them into mercenaries. Anybody can be an ICE officer, and you can make a lot of money doing it. They even offer bonuses and stuff. So basically, our ICE department has turned into a bunch of mercenaries that are just kidnapping people for money, basically. He promised that it would be illegals who are criminals, drug dealers, blah, blah, blah. And he's actually arresting U.S. citizens. I saw a post, not too long ago, and it's the known idea that ICE is racially profiling people who look like they might be foreign. But this particular picture that I saw, she looked white, like me. She didn't look like she would be foreign, and they were arresting her. I don't know because she said something they didn't like or what, because like I said, freedom of speech, privacy, Constitution's going out the window, so I hope y'all are prepared for that. They're going to completely delete the Constitution. You're not going to have any rights here within the next several years. But yeah, they're just arresting whoever they feel like arresting. So 10 to 1, this whole ID thing on the internet is just another step in that direction. If you say something that they don't like, ICE might be knocking on your door before long. Another thing I heard, which is quite interesting, anybody use Facebook and Google? So I use Facebook mainly to keep up with some friends and family, and then I also have a page for my business. It's a good way to reach a large number of people and stay in contact, right? But we all know that over the years, Facebook has sold your private information, if you want to call it private, sold your information that you have on Facebook to third parties. Okay, so now they're coming out and I guess they're saying they're going to start having their AI. AI is so great, isn't it? They're going to start having their AI read and learn from your private messages. So now all your private DMs that you thought that only you and the other person are going to know about, the AI is going to start reading it and learning from it. Basically, it's an excuse for them to sell even more private information. So if you have any DMs that are private, they're not going to be very private. And it's hard to tell. They might have not been very private to begin with. They're just now telling you because it's a common thing. They do things before they actually admit that they do things. Yeah, but we got a check in the mail for that Facebook crap. I never once thought any of that was private, not for 1 second. Yeah, I mean, most of us, knew that they were selling our private information. And I actually got my class action money on PayPal. And it was only like $30 though. It wasn't a whole lot of money, but I guess it's better than none, right? How much money did you get? But yeah, I mean, and they're not really learning, are they? They're doing it again, or well, they never really stopped doing it. So it's like, the class action means absolutely nothing to them. They probably can afford it with the amount of money that they're making selling your stuff to third parties. And who knows, they might be even selling it to other countries. They might be selling your information to Russia. Maybe even China. Everybody talking shit about TikTok being unsecured and stealing your information. And the truth was, Facebook was. The whole time, Facebook was doing that. I didn't get nearly as much as they made from my data. Yeah. Welcome to the surveillance state right here at home. Yeah. Yeah. So the whole court crap with TikTok was it was a bunch of bull, is all it was. And some of the politicians that were behind the whole thing even admitted right on camera that it has to do with them making money. They were like, "Where's my money?" They were invested in Facebook and other things. They weren't invested in TikTok. So they were trying to get it to where they could make money off of TikTok. It had nothing to do with your security whatsoever. One thing that we should all have learned from history is you can't believe the government 100%. Okay? They're not going to tell you everything, and they definitely aren't going to tell you up front. And if they do tell you, it's probably going to be because it benefits them somehow. Something that kind of bugs me a little bit here. I mentioned them ICE arresting illegals because of drugs and whatnot. You probably are aware that our government, under our current leadership, bombed a couple boats, I believe, in international waters. So we didn't really even have any authority on the international waters, claiming that they were transporting drugs into our country, particularly fentanyl. And I guess the boats came from what, Venezuela, I think it was. They were basically fisher boats. There was really no evidence. They didn't have any evidence that there was any drugs on it. And when they blew the boats out of the water, there's definitely no evidence that there is drugs on those boats. Um, so it's kind of convenient. My understanding from some of the things that I've read is fentanyl doesn't actually come from Venezuela. It comes from other countries. And so they kind of probably blew up the wrong boats. But, the other thing is there was images that were shared of people on the boat. I guess they saw the drone or whatever that blew them out of the water, and they put their hands up. They surrendered. They were not armed. If you really thought there was drugs on that boat, why didn't you send the Coast Guard to go investigate and maybe arrest? Why? Because it was international waters, I guess. They couldn't do that. But for some reason, they can fly a drone in international waters and murder people. That's basically what it was. It was not a drug bust. It was not preventing drugs from coming in this country. It was not stopping terrorists. It was murdering people and claiming lies to get away with it. That's all it is. Um, Apparently, I can't remember the guy's name. There's so many guys and probably women that have been in and out of those offices because, you do something he don't like, he cans you. Okay? You speak against him, he's going to fire you, right? And so there's one guy, and I guess this was related to his first term in office. I guess our dear president mentioned that he wanted to kill people. Well, these boats actually backs that claim up that he wants to kill people. You have a U.S. Army that's funded by what, $900 billion, and your only way to deal with two little fishing boats is to use a computer operated plane to blow them out of the water? That's disgusting. Meanwhile, our schools are still unsafe. My daughter is in second grade. Now, I've worked in the security field for over 18 years. Uh, I worked at two community colleges and a chicken plant, but that was only like a year and a half. But I worked two community colleges for many years. And so I dropped my daughter off at school. Sometimes I'd go through the line and, drop her off at the door. And then sometimes, it's just me and her. So sometimes I just park and walk her to the door. And so I'll walk her up to the door. We'll wait for the bell to ring, and the bell rings. And then usually a few minutes after, because they're kind of slow to open the door, they open the door and start letting students in. This is the thing. There's no staff members 90% of the time out front in the mornings. Only in the afternoons. So they're only concerned about security for the kids in the afternoon. They have a school resource officer who is a sheriff deputy. His car is usually in the parking spot, but he's nowhere to be found in the morning. Afternoon, he's there, not in the morning. There's no security whatsoever in the morning. Now, me being a security officer, I tend to observe and look at certain things and try to think of ways to make things better. Okay, make things safer. Even more so as a parent. So I'm looking here. There's no staff members. There's no law enforcement. Yes, you have security cameras. I don't know if anybody's watching them. The front door is an automated door that they can push a button and open, but sometimes they manually open it. Yes, they have those kind of, the doors are usually locked unless they open the door. Okay. But if you want to be technical, anybody could grab the kids in the morning. There's no staff, no law enforcement. People are just dropping their kids off and trying to rush to work. Cars everywhere, people everywhere. It wouldn't be that hard to grab a kid, throw them in a van, and take off, and nobody know the difference. Not only that, is sometimes they open that door, there's really nobody there. What's stopping somebody from coming in with the kids and then causing a problem at the school? So school security in this country, and I can't speak for every school, but from what I've seen, sucks. It's not a priority. But blowing up fishing boats, small little private boats in international waters, out of our jurisdiction, is more of a priority than keeping our kids safe in school. And then even better, he claims that these boats had drugs on them. But then he pardons a drug lord. He was a president. He got sentenced to 7 years for drugs. He should have got more than that, honestly. 7 years, seriously? See, that's the difference between a poor person who goes to jail for something and a rich person going to jail for something. Okay? 7 years, and he pardons him knowing that he sold drugs. He doesn't care about our safety. He doesn't care about keeping drugs out of this country. Okay? 10-1, he had business dealings with this drug dealer, and they're probably making money off each other. A lot of people call it conspiracy and whatnot, but you can probably guarantee that our government, every government in the world, probably just about, has some kind of connection or their hand in the pot when it comes to drug trafficking and human trafficking. Let's see the Epstein files, shall we? Without redactions. Let's charge everybody on it. I don't care who they are or what their party is. Charge them all. Who'd grab them? ICE. Believe it or not, ICE has actually done that. ICE has grabbed kids out of schools. And parents are coming to the school to pick up their kid at the end of the day, and their kid's not there. Nobody told them nothing. ICE has grabbed a daycare worker. She's watching people's kids, and they went in and grabbed her. It's like, okay, so who all's watching the kids now? They just do whatever they want. At least authorizing the attack is within its actual powers as the commander-in-chief of the U.S. Armed Force. I know it wasn't a joke. Yeah, well, that's true. The president's main purpose is defending the country, right? Commander-in-chief. He controls the military. Although for some reason, sometimes he tends to have control of other things that aren't in his job description. I don't know why. But to be honest with you, he ain't worth a darn, and neither are any of the people in the other branches of government. And a lot of them actually work for him anyways. So, yeah, well, like I said, I can almost guarantee you by the time his second term is up, if he doesn't get a third term, because the way it's looking, anything could happen. There's not going to be a constitution when all is said and done. When he's done with this country, there ain't going to be a constitution. There's not going to be any bills of rights. It's going to be the law of Trump. And it's kind of hilarious. He likes renaming things. Okay, so you have Gulf of America, but the most recent thing is they named the I can't think of what the exact name was, but it's like the Department of Peace or whatever. The building is something of peace, and now it's the building of Donald J. Trump, and they're associating him with peace. But then he changes the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War, which screams not peace, not defending. It screams, we want to kill you. It's offensive. It's not defensive. And so it's basically a load of crap. So he's spending a bunch of money to rename things that make no sense whatsoever. It's a waste of money, and it's lies. And then when he does get out of office, if he does get out of office, then we're going to have to spend a large amount of money to change everything back. Because you know darn well the next opponent, unless, the next president, unless, he's buddies with him or whatever, they're going to change it. They're not going to keep those names, those ridiculous names. So it's going to cost us a fortune in tax dollars to fix everything. And that's basically what he's doing. He's really putting this country in debt, and it's going to be a mess when he leaves. And we're going to need somebody in office who can clean up the mess, really. The office ages before people fast, and it wasn't young after the first one. Yeah. I mean, I've shared this before. I believe that there should be a retirement age for anybody in government. If we all retire by a certain age, or try to retire by a certain age, which I guess they keep moving around. It was 65. Is it 70 now? Did they move it up to 70? I know they were talking about it. So I think retirement should be 65. Boom. Let's keep it the way it was, right? You work 90% of your life, and you have 10% left to try to enjoy the world that the Lord has given you. Okay? The time that you got left. If we retire at 65, they should retire at 65. Nobody should be able to hold an office past the age of 65. If my memory is correct, president, you can be elected at the age of 35, so you can be president from the age of 35 to the age 65. If you are 66 years old and you want to run for president, I'm sorry, you don't meet the requirement. You are too old. It has to be between 35 and 65 for president, Supreme Court justices, Congress, House of Representatives, Senate, whatever. It should be that way nationwide, all those political positions. Supreme Court is a lifetime appointment, and we should change that. You should also have people who are unbiased in these positions. Okay, so if for example, one thing that's happened with this, with Trump, is he's put his own people in office. Okay, that's how he's gotten away with a lot of things. Okay, it was one of his own people he appointed as a Supreme Court justice that basically gave him immunity so that his felonies didn't prevent him from being president. That should not be allowed. Why would you allow that? Why would you allow somebody to put their own people in so that it's like cheating, really. When it comes down to it, it's cheating the election. It's cheating. You can break laws, and your cronies are going to get you out of it. It should be illegal. It shouldn't be that way. I don't know why we do it that way. It makes no sense. Okay, so Constitution. Okay, so the Constitution, I feel that the people have more right to change the Constitution than the government does. Because the government's supposed to work for the people, by the people. Okay? And they constantly make a little amendments and stuff added to the Constitution. Because, yes, times change. The way things are today is not the way it was when they wrote the Constitution. Okay? Second Amendment. You have the right to bear arms. Great. They didn't have nukes back then. They didn't have jets back then. They didn't have tanks and all this stuff back then. We were on the same playing field as the government. We had the same weapons. And so that has changed. Okay? Maybe instead of having politicians decide these amendments, maybe we should have elections and the people should vote for those amendments. The issue that you have is these people in office, they make the rules to better them. Okay? So, who decided that the Supreme Court justice, in this particular example, should be a lifetime position? Well, 10 to 1, it was the people who are going to be the Supreme Court justices. It probably wasn't really the people. So our method of changing the Constitution is to vote in a Congress that will change the Constitution. Um, I think things should change. There's just certain things that I don't feel are working in today's world. I don't think anybody should be able to stay in the office until the day they die. Um, we had two people in office that I think one finally died. I think the other one's still alive. And I'm not saying that death was a good thing. I shouldn't have said finally died, but they died. Okay. And so the one person's left. That's how old they are. But they were basically being used as puppets. They had no real understanding of what was going on. They were just there, kind of thing. Their mental stability was not there. And so I don't feel any politician in any branch of government should be able to stay in office until they're 100 years old and pass away. That doesn't seem right for the individual. Go enjoy life. It's not like you need the money. You got plenty. It's time for you to retire, enjoy the rest of your life, and allow somebody else to step in and do their job. You know, it's the same thing. If something's not working the way you're doing it, then maybe you should step aside and let somebody else try. For most, it's a calling. Don't get me wrong. There's great people in office. Okay, I'm not saying that there isn't. There are people that really care and want to make positive change for everybody. That's awesome. I'm not saying otherwise. Um, but there's people who want to be in office for power and money and control. It's not about bettering the country. It's not about bettering the lives of the American people. It's only about bettering themselves. And we don't need those kind of people in office. I feel we should have a little bit more power than what we do. The way we do things is we vote for individuals. Okay, great. That freedom is awesome. But we give all the power to those individuals. And so, just like in business, marketing and whatnot, they try to make the picture as pretty as possible. You see the restaurant commercials and all the food and the drinks and stuff, they look so amazing, so vivid. But then, I think my headset's telling me to shut up. But you go behind the scenes and those foods are not even real. They're fake. Okay? So the government is trying to make you think they're pretty, that you can trust them and depend on them and that they're going to make your life better. And then when you give them that power, they're like, never mind. I changed my mind. You know, sort of like the lady, I think it was in North Carolina. She was a Democrat and they elected her, and then she changed her party over to a Republican, like right afterwards. And 10 to 1 is because the Republican Party offered her something. But you shouldn't be able to do that. But I also kind of believe we should do away with the party system, anyways. I feel all it is competition. People are voting for parties and not for the cause. They're not voting for anything besides a name. And that's not what elections should be about. It shouldn't be about Pepsi versus Coke. It shouldn't be about, I don't know how many of you are in North Carolina, but Chapel Hill versus State Wolfpack and Duke. It shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't be a Republican because your daddy and your granddaddy were Republicans, and it's not a matter of what you believe. It should be a matter of what you believe. It should be a matter of what your principles are and your morals are, and who you actually think would be better for your life and the life of your family and your neighbors and whatnot. It shouldn't be about a title, and that's kind of a problem with the whole election process and the whole party process. I've had people tell me that when I vote, I should vote for my party. First of all, I don't have a party. I consider myself independent. I vote for the individual and what they want to do. And that's how you should vote. You should vote according to what you believe in, not what they call themselves. Okay? Because when it comes said and done, most of them are not going to be there for you anyways. Anyways, let's play some Dragon Quest. We've been talking for over 40 minutes here. All right. So, enough of my political banter. Believe it or not, I did not intend to talk about politics for 40 minutes. I mainly wanted to talk about the boat, the ID to use social media, and the Google and Facebook thing. So yes, Facebook's going to start reading your messages, and Google's going to do the same thing with your emails. I didn't mention that about Google, but if you have a Gmail, the Google AI is going to start reading your emails, basically. You've got a platform. I can't blame you for using it to express your thoughts. And see, that's the whole idea with the whole why they're going to do these ID things. They want you to use your ID. That way, when, like me, like what I just did, speaking against them, they know where I live now. And so they can come shut me up, basically. The thing with that, though, is if we can't speak freely in the modern world, we can always go back to old school. They talked about making America great again, which means they're talking about the past, right? Well, we can go back to the past, okay? So what do we have in the past? We had libraries. You can do research in libraries, okay? For the most part, it's free. You don't have to pay for internet. If you go to the library, all right, get a book, all right? We have old school video games. We don't need the internet. Break out that Nintendo and PlayStation 1 and 2 and whatnot that doesn't require internet. Board games, okay? We don't need cell phones. I was born in '84, grew up in the 80s and 90s. We didn't have cell phones. We don't need them. Now your boss won't be able to harass you every second of the day, right? we could go back to old school, and the thing that they're thinking is by silencing us on the internet that we're not going to stand and speak against them. That's not true, okay? So I don't know how much you kind of noticed about people, all right? Yes, there's tons of information on the internet. People will speak up, protest, petition, whatever on the internet. But how many people actually follow through? Okay? Few, okay? A lot of people just talk, all right? And there's a lot of social media where people just post posts. All they do is talk about it, and they don't actually go in and do anything. Okay? By eliminating that avenue, by saying, okay, you can't do that no more, that means we now have to meet in person. We now have to physically go do something, which means it's more likely to happen than it would be just by typing a post on Facebook. Now we can gather as a group, and we can go back to sharing information that way. We don't have to necessarily use the internet. I had a discussion with a friend of mine many years ago. Lord, it's been over 11 years since we had the conversation. It was before I got married. And a few years ago she passed away, but she was a coworker and a supervisor at one time and a friend. And she was what you would refer to as a prepper. I don't know if you're familiar with the term. People who prepare for the end of times, basically. And, she had her canned goods all stored up, ready to go. As they got older, she kind of moved them, shifted them around. They had go packs and stuff ready. They had their guns ready and whatnot. And so there was a discussion about North Korea and EMPs. And she was all concerned that, if an EMP was fired over here or whatever, that, technology would be fried and it would be the end of the world and whatnot. And that humanity would be wiped out. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Yes, a lot of people would die, particularly the rich people. The people that don't know how to survive without paying somebody else peanuts to do it. Uh, yes, a lot of people would die, but humanity will live on. As long as the world exists, as long as you can breathe air, as long as there is life, there will be humanity. Humanity has constantly adapted and evolved over the years. We might have to go back in time. Might not have a computer, might not have a car, but you got horses. You can ride horses again. You don't have electric heaters? Well, you know what? Fire worked pretty good back in the day, right? We could survive without modern technology. A lot of people would die, a lot of people would survive, and then a lot of people would have to relearn how to survive, basically. Um, we don't have cell phones anyway. Our carriers have tracking devices in our pockets. We don't own the hardware, even if we pay for it. That is true. They can even track you if your phone is turned off, by the way. So there was experiments done on that, and Google was a part of that. I feel like the world needs to shrink again, but I don't think it ever will. That is kind of another issue. It's not one that's easy to talk about, but there are too many people in the world, and when there's too many people, there's not enough resources to go around, basically. Um, and that's not something that's easy to discuss and talk about because people are going to multiply. I guess that's a God thing there. Um, without an apocalypse, yeah. All the diabetics and other are dependent on modern medications. Yeah, that's another thing. You're gonna lose some of that stuff, or we need to find other ways to help with those things. You know, like there was a lot of discussions about natural medicines and treatments and whatnot. How we rely on a lot of pills that only partially help us, but there's stuff in nature, okay, that we could use that could help us. I think AI is a problem. You know, it can be fun. You know, I've seen some videos, particularly like animals and stuff, that were AI created and they're doing funny things and whatnot. It's great for entertainment in a sense, but it has a lot of negative effects as well, like what we were just talking about, stealing your information. You know, they could take my face, their AI software, and they could put me on a platform and have me say things that I didn't actually say. That's a big issue with AI. It's going to be a lot easier to frame people with AI. Bubble when it pops, I guess we'll be headed into depression again. It's probably coming. I hate to say it. Um, and prices keep going up and pay is not moving. Depression is coming. I hate to say it. All because people are greedy. When it comes down to it, if you would have corporations making billions of dollars pay a fair share, if you know, this one might piss off some churchgoers, mega churches that operate as a corporation, making billions of dollars tax free, charge them taxes, then the economy would probably get a little better. Nothing but big companies sending money around to each other in a loop to show number go up on paper. Yeah. Um, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of churches out there that are great. They're helping people. They're doing what, you would believe God would want them to do. But there's a lot of churches out there that are con artists that are just after your money and telling you what you want to hear. How do I know that? Well, didn't Jesus say, leave all of your fortunes behind and follow me? And then you got these church leaders with designer suits and private jets and multi-million-dollar homes. Really? Those are probably not the kind of churches you want to go to. You would be better off going to that small little local church where the pastor is basically barely surviving financially, or maybe they're just comfortable. Because the thing is, Jesus was poor and he wore rags, okay, and he did most of his teaching out in the world, not in a building. Yes, TV evangelists. Okay, so back in the old days, okay, there was a lot of TV evangelists, but they've grown past just TV evangelism now. Now they have the mega churches and all that. It's gone past just doing a show on TV. Now they're bringing in hundreds of thousands of people and stealing their money and making them promises they can't make, that they can't keep. Yeah, exactly. And I can see, I could talk about that all day long. I've seen videos of some of these preachers that are demanding money. Um, they like this one guy. I can't even think of what his name was, but he told his congregation, "You're to give me $1,000." And a lady came up and said, "I have this much." And there's a big fancy way they had to declare it and whatnot. I have this much to give you. With some more time, I can give you the rest at another time. And the pastor's like, I didn't ask you to give me money at another time. And why do people follow those kind of people? I don't get it. You know, it's like people like to be used and abused. I don't understand it. I really don't. Is it like the Stockholm syndrome kind of thing where the person falls in love with their kidnapper? You know, I've seen it on these platforms. Streamers are insulting their chat, talking trash and being mean and rude to them, and they love them for it. I don't know. Never trust organized religion. Faith is fine. Belief is fine. You can even go to church. Just don't trust anyone in the organization. History always repeats itself, okay? When Jesus was around, you had the church. The church was established. And you had the, what they call them? What was the church leaders called? I can't even think what the word is. I think it starts with a P. But anyways, you had the church leaders, and they were the ones that really wanted him dead. Because they took... No, it wasn't pastor. They had a different name. I don't know. They were like... I mean, they're like priests and pastors and whatnot, but this was before those names. This is during Jesus' time. This is before those names existed. But they were the ones that really wanted Jesus dead because he took away their power and their authority. Because, you know, they were like politicians. You know, you have politics in churches. You know, and God is not of politics. Okay? You know, you also remember Jesus said, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, give to God what belongs to God. And I think sometimes churches mix that up. It becomes a political thing. And politics don't belong in church, in my opinion. You know, Jesus said, love your neighbor. How many practice that? There's a lot of the opposite going on. But in the world of Dragon Quest, we're going to go after the archfiend, Baramos. Of course, we're not anywhere close to that. Right now, we're in the town of, was it Baharata? And how do you say her name? Tanea was kidnapped. And her betrothed is trying to find her and save her and doesn't want any help. So obviously, we're going to help anyways. You have a disaster hit your area. You trust your neighbor. You have no choice. Honestly, you could probably trust your neighbor more than you could trust your politician. Just saying. Turn my volume up here a little bit. Okay, so it's kind of, it's almost like a desert town, but we're not in the desert. That was Isbis. We met a lot of neighbors when we had the years ago in there. Yeah, I remember hurricanes coming through and whatnot, and trees knocked down, blocking the road, and neighbors would get out with their axes and chainsaws and help each other out, you know. And that's how it should be, and it should be that way all the time, not just at the worst times. All right. Is there anything we need to buy that we haven't already? We are not going to buy this for her because it consumes magic points. It would make her hit harder, sure, but we don't want her magic points consumed. Makes a little more sense for Magus because he's either going to use a spell or he's going to attack, so he's going to consume magic either way. $80 miles per hour. Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun there. I don't need that. That. Good there. Good there. Good there. And we're good there, so I don't think we need any weapons or armor. Let's see if the item shop has any armor that we could use. Sometimes they do. Alright, we don't need that, and we don't need the pointy hat. So we are good as far as armor goes. We don't really need to buy nothing. And I believe we've been everywhere in this town, so we need to try to find the kidnappers. Find some black pepper to trade for a ship, which we can't do that yet because the person selling it, it's his daughter that got kidnapped. So we got to find her. So if we go outside, how's our health? Okay. If we go outside, maybe the map will tell us where we need to go, because I don't remember where they said. Our town lost about 75% of our tree canopy, and it took a month and the help of neighboring states to remove all the downed trees. Yeah, I can imagine. I hope they use the wood for something positive, like to help rebuild people's homes. You know, that would have been a good idea. Okay, so we got to cross the bridge and then go north. Okay, of course we're going to do a little exploring while we cross the bridge, because we might find some loot. We like loot. If we can't use it, we can always sell it. Oh, let's see here. Alright, he's got his boomerang. We can do that. Attack. We'll just do attacks. Let's see how it works. Hey, it worked. Look at that. Yeah, I remember some snowstorms that were pretty rough, even in North Carolina. I remember I think I was like in high school, or yeah, I'm pretty sure it was high school. We had a bad snowstorm and power was out for about a week. Some people had it worse than that. And I remember, you know, we had a kerosene heater, but sometimes we'd go out to the car and turn the car on and warm up in the car. Hey, we went up a level. But you know, with natural disasters, that's when our tax dollars should really come into play. I would rather my money I spend on taxes go to help somebody who just lost their house because of a lightning storm, a tornado, or hurricane, whatever, lost their home, lost everything they had, than to go to somebody who has the whole world, you know? I see a little bag on a tree. Oh, that's a decent amount of money somebody left in that bag. Finders keepers. No, it's kind of funny. You play these games. That's all that's here. Maybe there's a monster here at different times of the day. You play these games, and you find these random treasure chests, the jars, the bags. You loot people's dresser drawers, right? And the thought process is, oh, I'm technically stealing from these people. Of course, they don't really have an issue with it. At least it's not programmed in these games. But the thought is you're also the hero, right? So you're using the stuff to save the world, in a sense. I think there's a couple of games that kind of joke about it. There's a Dragon Quest game. I'm trying to think. I think it's Dragon Quest 4. And you go in this one city, and it's kind of a setup. But you go in this one city, and you loot this one person's drawers, and then they come rushing in with the guard, and you get arrested for stealing. Alright, let's have you fight the mage. Let's have you use swoosh on the Rottenweilers, and you can use sizzle on the walking corpses. See how this works. Ooh, they're tough. I've always thought it was weird that these games taught us it was okay to walk into people's houses and dig through their dresser drawers for whatever we want. Yeah. I think we can probably kill them with one hit by now. Just do that. And there was another game, Star Ocean, I think it was. Throughout the whole game, there was never really any question on why this treasure was here, You walk in a cave and there's a treasure chest here. There's candles lit, and it's like there's signs that people were here, but yet no people were supposed to be there, And so I guess the storyline with this one Star Ocean game is you find out your whole life is nothing more than a video game. You're not even real. And so that was kind of a way of joking about that. It was, nobody else saw the treasure chests. Final Fantasy Original didn't have much of the treasure in people's rooms. I wonder if it started with Zelda, or you said Dragon Quest. Yeah, Dragon Quest had it a lot. Zelda was more of breaking the pots and the urns, and then getting like a ruby or a heart or something. All right, we're gonna do a little bit of zigzagging here. They're back. All right, these walking corpses are pretty tough. Still alive, goodness. Yeah. Oh, one left, look at that. I think it would have been maybe a little bit more fun if they made more of these games that would respond to that. You know, like, stay out of my drawer, or, you know, you should have asked first. You know, had somebody, you know, say something. It would have been a little bit neater if they did that. A few of them do make note of it. I recall Breath of Fire 2 having something. Yeah, probably. You know, it'd be kind of funny, you know, you walk in, you check somebody's drawers, and then, you know, you get a dialogue bubble. Get out of my drawer! You know, something like that. But you start out with a thief friend, and you're basically learning from him, yeah. That was a pretty good game. For those of you who don't know, I have streamed Breath of Fire 2. I'm pretty sure I have a playlist for it on YouTube, I think. Fingers crossed. Because there was some times I was just streaming on Twitch, and so some things didn't get put on YouTube. But I think there's playlists there. If you like Breath of Fire 2 and you haven't seen it yet, make sure you check it out over on YouTube. Ooh, try this. He ran away. I just remembered, apparently bugs in this game are weak against ice. I gotta keep remembering that. I always think bugs are weaker against fire than they would be ice, but in this it's ice. Let's see. Get a little bit of light in here. Whereas I think Final Fantasy, ice worked good on like turtles and lizards and stuff like that. Oh, they contained our spells. Okay. Well, that's just fine. I feel like bugs should be weak against fire too. Something about burning the wings off stuck in my head. But ice also makes sense. I guess technically they're cold-blooded. Yeah. Defending champion, it says. We'll have to see what that does. You ever see a housefly after November? Not too many, but I have seen some. You know, it's the same thing. You know, you generally think around wintertime you won't see any mosquitoes or gnats. And most part you don't, but sometimes there's a few here and there. Only when they were flying. And most of the time is because they flew in the house where, guess what, it was warm. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure about where you are, but I know here we are looking at temperatures in the 40s. It's 51 right now. We got some rain coming here. And some wind, oh boy. But we are in like southern portion of North Carolina. We moved from the Burlington area which is northern, like north central North Carolina, near Virginia. And they're about 10 degrees colder than we usually are here. But not only that, is they tend to get more winter weather. A matter of fact, no, we're poisoned. When I was living up there, I worked security at a community college. And part of the job is, you know, you would sign up for an alert system and you would get messages for emergencies and weather and whatnot. And so they have sent messages talking about winter weather coming and classes being canceled. I'm still getting those messages, even though I'm not working there anymore. But so yeah, they're bracing for some winter weather right now. If I look outside at the 8 inches of snow, I could estimate something around 20 degrees. Yeah. I got some stuff I can sell. Look at that. Anybody use the magical skirt, or is that weak now? Nobody needs it. Eight inches of snow. That sounds like a lot of fun. A good time to stay indoors where it's warm. Sit by that fire. Get yourself some hot chocolate or coffee or something. Ugh, I just got a message. Actually, not far off either. Phone says 18 degrees. Wow, look at that. No, thank you. I am fine with 51. Who needs weather apps? Exactly, just step outside. It's either hot or it's cold or somewhere in between. You want to know if it's raining? Look out the window. I think back in the day, if they wanted to know if bad weather was coming, they watched nature. You know, if the birds are all going in one direction, you might want to go in that direction too. I always like the weather rock. Rock is wet, it's raining. Rock is white, it's snow. Rock is gone, it's windy. Yeah. Well, let's hope when the wind starts here that we're not gone. I honestly don't know how much I trust this house at the point. It's only a year old. It hasn't been through any hurricanes or anything yet. And I know one time we had a windy day and it shook the house. You could feel it. So, those of you who aren't sure what exactly we're doing walking back and forth, this game is slightly different than the original. There is random loot in certain places on the map. That wasn't there in the original. So in the original, you could pretty much go straight to your destination if you knew where it was. So it doesn't show it on the map, sometimes people will tell you approximately where it is, but if you see like the sparkly over there in the top left-hand corner, that is random loot. And the only way to find it is to be walking around. And so it gives you a reason to walk around, and you get to kind of level up at the same time. It's a JRPG. Walking back and forth is par for the course. Yes. I do appreciate having multiple reasons for the walk, though. Yeah. Usually it's just for the grind. Yes. And anybody who's played these games before, or maybe even plays them now, when you need to level up and get money, what do you usually do? You walk in circles until you get attacked. Like that. Sometimes you get bored and you'll go back and forth or zigzag or well, depending on the game. In some games it's easiest to go back and forth between the same two squares. Yes. You got a seed of life. Woohoo! I'm on the wrong thing. Wrong bag. Alright, we're going to give it to Magus. He's got the least amount of hit points. Oh, that's much better. This game is also giving you more random seeds, too, than what the original used to do. I think in the original, it was mostly in treasure chests that you got the seeds. We'll use bang just in case they don't all die, yeah. And then bang. There we go. And then at some point, Dragon Quest got a... Well, you could use like the musk, and it's supposed to increase your encounter chances. But oh, there's an abbey up north. We're just gonna go to the top right there, not much further. We're gonna get the sparkles there. I want to say, I could be wrong, Dragon Quest VIII gives you a ability called Whistle. And Whistle makes you instantly go into a battle. So you don't even have to walk. You can just keep whistling and keep fighting that way. Ew. He licked me. I exploited the fight every step game genie code for Final Fantasy VI, yeah. I actually never had the game genie, but when PlayStation came out, we had the Game Shark. Ooh, I'm thinking I'm going to go up there just to get the sparkles and then come back down. Oh, there's more sparkles. They're everywhere! Oh, new enemies. This might be a hard one. Let's see how we do. We do have to be careful, because when you cross bridges or change continents, lots of times the monsters become harder. I had 3 stacked up. My SNES looked hilarious. Ouch. Need to do a heal. It's all junk. All right, we're going to try to go around here and get this one over here. What was that? Was that a misspelled? Is that supposed to be a diamond? A diamond? I think that's supposed to be diamond, and I think they misspelled it. A rock capable of absorbing an attack that would be fatal, saving its owner's life. Wow, everybody has pretty much the same defense. Oh, that would have been hilarious if all of them had the same defense. Look at y'all trying to be tough. 15 codes was just about right for Final Fantasy VI, though considering the Paladin Shield codes took a full game genie by themselves, and you wanted to be able to shut one of the codes off without shutting off the others. Alright, we're going to go back around. A group of, what did it say, hoodies? We haven't really used Chosen's magic much. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go to this cave or whatever it is. Give me a minute here. I'm going to cross this bridge. Make sure there's no sparklies. Oh, we got something up here. Oh, we have a monster. Hello. Mush. Awesome. Is there any hidden treasure anywhere? We're looking for chests, bags, pots, barrels. We got another prayer ring. There's a lot of them in this game. Some money. Nothing here. Alright, that seems to be it. So the prayer ring is an interesting thing. Alright, we're going to go in here. And then we're going to go out. Because now it's on our map. Now we can zoom to it if we need to. Because we need to heal our magic points. We're going to zoom. And we're going to zoom home because home is free. But the prayer ring, they did it different in this remake. Because the prayer ring used to be an actual accessory that you wore, not an item that you use. And they only gave you, like, I don't know, maybe 2 in the entire game, I think it was. And you could wear it, and you could use it as an item to replenish your magic points. But after a certain number of uses, it would break. And so they, I guess, decided in this game to make it an item that basically does the same thing. So it's the same thing, you just can't equip it. And they're giving you a lot more than normal. I don't want to sell anything. I don't want to buy anything. I want to sell things. Blah. Alright, let's see. I do not think we need the holy staff or holy lance anymore, so we're going to sell that. We got 2 daggers that we don't need no more. We're going to sell that. I don't think we need the staff of anti-magic anymore. We don't need thorn whip. We don't need the wayfarer's clothes, I know that. We don't need the skirt. Don't need this. Alright, we're gonna put some money in the bank. Right now, there's no equipment that we need from the stores. So we're gonna put stuff away. Let's do 1100. Alright. Now let's go back to the kidnapper's cave. Oh, I was going to save it too. Oh well. Alright. So I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be back in a few minutes. Just to let you know, in past experiences, whenever I go to the be right back screen on OBS and then come back, sometimes it sticks. For me, for you, it does not. So I'll be on the be right back screen, which you'll see here in a minute, and I'll click on the game screen, which is what you're seeing now, and you'll see the game, but I won't in the preview screen. Which I like to see the preview screen to make sure everything's kind of working right. Sometimes OBS gets stuck, or at least the preview gets stuck. I don't know exactly why. I've done some looking up, and it said to do this, that, this, and that, and so I kind of did a few things. I don't know if it's working because I haven't really tested it yet. So this is going to be a test to see if it works. Hopefully the preview screen will not get stuck. Fingers crossed. Wish me luck. All right, I am back, and it appears that the preview screen is currently working. Yes. Let's hope it stays that way, shall we? All right, Tanea. We are looking for Tanea and her kidnappers. All right, we can look at... Wow. What a place. All right, so obviously we do want to check what's behind the locked doors, don't we? I think we're going to start... by going up. Who the hell built this place? Good Lord, it's awful. Still alive. Let's get him. Oh, that bag of laughs or whatever it was called gave me some decent money. All right, let's see if we can get past this door. It looks like a thief's key door. Oh, we got some new kitties and a new anteater thing. Let's see what we got. We have a shade, that's the same. A catula, and ant guzzler. That's the same. Oh, we're gonna take out the shade. Really?
Take this.
Okay. Money. Are we taking the kidnapper's money? Is that what we're doing? Oh, not a candy box. Okay. I think he's weak against fire. There we go. You gotta watch out because they use whack and you die instantly. Alright, we're just gonna go straight across here. A mini medal, yay! I'm gonna switch to our boomerang. Coward! Ouch! Alright, so we've been dazzled. I think that means we can't... Our hit rate is down, or accuracy or whatever. So we're going to cast the spell Zap. Attack. She is going to do a mid-heal. And just attack. It did the trick. He's been zapped like a bug. That's another one that should be a weakness for bugs, is zap. Alright, so we're going to go across again. We got another one of those. And there's another candy box. I knew another one was coming sooner or later. But they're weak against fire. Which makes sense since they're partially made out of wood. Alright, let's see here. Alright, we're going to go straight across. Then we're going to go down. Alright, we're going to go down this way, because we've already been on the other side there. We'll go down this way. Make sure there's nothing there. Okay, so then we're going to go this way, if I can find the doorway. I don't see no treasure. Still alive? That's unusual. These shades are stronger than the last ones we fought. Boom, that's what we've been waiting for. Nothing here. What's up? Because there's a nice long hallway going up. Is there a reason why that torch is not lit? Yeah, that screams to me, oh, secret opening or something, but not always the case.
Take this.
Coward. Ran away. Zing. I think it's another revive spell. It's like life 2. Ooh, is that going to take me down? Am I going to be able to get back up again? Just a ring this time. I already have one. Alright, let's bring out the boomerang again. Boom. Stronger than bang.
Boom.
They went boom. Alright, so we're going to go down to the next one here. Nothing. They're too stunned to move. Alright, so we're just going to go straight across and down. They tried. Ooh. Startled by the sound. There's nothing much I can do about that. Well, I could have walked. We could try walking. Alright, so if we want to try to get that monster, we're gonna go out of the room and then come back. But we gotta walk. We don't want to startle it.
Take this.
All right, so I don't think we can get that one. Probably need a monster wrangler person. Look at all these enemies. I got Gust Slash. Anything that's out unless it's behind the box. Nope. Die, kitty cat. Beware of flying cats. Nada. How long must it be now since I first got lost here in this cave? What's more, I'm no closer to finding that blasted bandit who's the entire reason for me being here in the first place. Oh, goddess. There's a barrel. Money. One left. Let's get him. Seed of Wisdom.
you.
Iron helmet, but I don't think anybody needs it. He's already got one. Thank God. Alright, so we're going to go up this one so I can check the end of those hallways. Still standing. I'm not sure if I got this one or not. Nope. I missed one. Nothing there. What about down here? Nothing. Still standing. See what's this way. Already have the iron axe. Another prayer ring. Oh boy. Full plate armor. Which the fur vest is stronger. As crazy as that is. Alright, before we open up the door, the two of them don't really need it.
Who the heck are you? Oh, here to join the gang, are ya?
No.
Well, we can't have that now, can we? You're mine! Sissy.
Take this!
Sissy. All right.
Yeah!
That's my out of experience there. Money.
Help! Somebody help me! It is I, Tanaya, who was most terrifyingly kidnapped from the town of Baharata.
Well, I gotta find the key.
Please, there is a lever on the wall over there that will be opening this door. Pull it! Oh, Tanaya, my most beautiful darling!
Oh, Gopal, my most dearly beloved. Now we may return home together at last.
Indeed we may, my love. Come, let us leave right now, this instant.
Ah, thank you, brave hero.
Always something.
You didn't think I'd let you get away that easily, did ya?
Not Robin Hood.
Brave hero, save us!
Ray, this is awful. I care nothing for myself, but you must be saving my beloved.
Hey? Oh, I don't remember kidnapping no... Hang about. Not you, a bleeding king. I can't get rid of you, can I? Well, you ain't gonna beat me twice.
Let's find out, shall we? Okay, let's see.
You're mine. Boom.
Swoosh!
Brace yourself. Boom.
This ought to help.
All right, defeated. 3,000 experience, yes.
I've beaten a bleeding king. You're my bleeding nemesis, you are. Please, I'm begging you, spare me. I'll turn me life around. I'll go straight, I promise. Just let me go, please. Cheers, ears. Be lucky, eh? Ta-da!
Oh, thank you. Thank you once again so very, very much. I am indebted to you for as long as I shall live. Longer. Finally, it is time to return home.
Yes, my dearest darling.
You must come back to Baharata and see us sometime, yes? Namaste, and welcome to the Emporium of Spices. Array, but it is you, Savior-ji. It is I, Gopal Gupta. I am still most thoroughly in your debt for all that you have done. Are you here in search of black pepper, perhaps? Then allow me to get you some right away. Array, I am most sorry for this, but we have no black pepper. However, do not look so glum. There is a trader we do business with who always has some to hand. You should be able to find him in All Trades Abbey to the north. Tell him Gopal sent you. Oh, Savior-ji, please. I could not be taking any reward from you for this. The fact you have saved my best beloved is more than enough. Now, it will take a little while to reach All Trades Abbey. First, cross the bridge close to Baharata before making your way north towards the mountains. Eventually, the abbey will come into view. Best of luck, and thank you for everything you have done, Savior-ji.
Oh, there's a back door. Plenty of danger on your wanderings, yes? Then listen to this most carefully. The somatic staff is being a most wondrous wand that allows magical power to be used offensively. We know this. Ah, brave, brave hero, it is you. Thank you so very, very much for coming to my aid. Thanks to you, I have returned to my home, and Gopal and I inherited my dear Dada's shop. Friend, I am having heard everything that occurred. You have my deepest, unreserved, and most undying gratitude. I am able to rest at last is thanks to you and you alone. We're gonna go stay at the inn. I think I got these. All right, that's all the time I have for today, but thank y'all for coming and watching. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit those follow buttons and don't forget to turn on notifications. I do plan on being back tomorrow, same time. We're going to pick up where we left off. So the search for pepper, black pepper, goes on. Looks like we're going to have to go north to the All Trade Abbey, which is where you can change your job class, basically. Well, everybody but the hero. He can't change his job class any. And I think you have to be at least level 20, which is not a big deal since everybody is over level 20. So we'll have to decide if we want to stick with what we got or if we want to go ahead and change. I probably will keep the martial artist as a martial artist for sure. I might change the priest. And definitely want to make the mage a sage. And so in order to be a sage, I think he's got to do both mage and priest. I'm thinking up to level 20. I think there's an item you have to find to kind of unlock that job profession. But perhaps we'll find out more about that tomorrow. So make sure you stop on by tomorrow and see what happens, if we change our jobs or what we do. But y'all have a good day, and we'll